What's up, everybody? Welcome to the stack. Welcome back if you've been here before. I'm neonmushroom, and today we've got some EDH commander gameplay for you guys. I think we've got a commander you guys haven't seen on the channel before. We just got a bunch of new decks in for use on the stack, and we're pretty pumped to start trying them out. So keep that in mind. Also some decks you've seen way back when we first started the channel. Some of those decks are going to be brought back as well. I'm kind of excited for stuff like that. So any of you who've been watching for a while, yay! That's all you should need to know. So let's go ahead and take a look at who's playing, what they decided to play, what hands they decided to keep, in addition to some normal upkeep stuff.
As always, if you like this show or any of our other shows on YouTube, liking, sharing, and subscribing helps us out immensely. If you like our content and don't mind that extra mile, you can always support us over on Patreon, over at patreon.com/mtg the stack.
I don't know. They're not all gonna be creative. That's just the way it is.
Comment down below any of your thoughts and feelings, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Okay, first up we have me, and I'm playing Varina Lich Queen. This is a build that I've taken to calling Rot Farm for the purposes of this channel, and I want to use Varina as a powerful card draw engine out of the command zone in order to try to assemble a combo utilizing Gravecrawler, Phyrexian Altar, and something like a Diagraph Captain to kill my opponents with infinite death triggers. I was lucky enough to be able to keep a 7-card hand, including a Fleshbag Marauder, Relentless Dead, Arcane Signet, a Lotus Petal, Lord of the Undead, Skycloud Expanse, and an Underground River. Next up, we have Guy Scott playing a deck you guys have not seen on this channel until today. It's Tinybones Trinket Thief. This deck wants to utilize as many cards as possible from throughout Magic's history that cause our opponents to discard cards from their hand in order to win the game using Tinybones' activated ability. Guy Scott decided to keep a 6-card hand with a Mind Crank, a Tasiger's Cruelty, Siphon Mind, Inventor's Fair, 2 snow-covered swamps, and he had to put a copy of Scroll Rack on the bottom of his library. Next up, we have Ryan Foley returning to the channel with his Oloro build. This deck wants to assemble the combination of Bolas's Citadel and Aetherflux Reservoir in order to kill all of its opponents by storming off of the top of his library until he has enough life to one-shot each of us. Ryan has decided to keep a 7-card hand with a Temple of Silence, Scheming Cemetery, 2 swamps, a Smothering Tithe, a Plains, and a snow-covered island. Last but not least, we have Ajdin playing a fairly straightforward Purphoros build. It's built just like any Purphoros deck you've probably seen before. It wants to play Purphoros, then kill all of its opponents using cards that allow him to put a lot of bodies into play all at once. Ajdin has opted to keep a 7-card hand with a Hellion Crucible, a Siege Gang Commander, Legion Warboss, Jeska's Will, Cavern of Souls, Hellion Eruption, and a basic mountain. Alright gentlemen, we got card game. Foley, welcome back to the stack. Take a card. You can only have one. Card. On 3. 1, 2, 3. It's me. Also, it's me. I won card game, so I get to go first. I'll start on Underground River and pass. Guy will draw, play a snow-covered swamp, and pass to Ryan, who forgets about his upkeep trigger. He does remember it later, so I'll represent it here. He'll play a swamp and pass to Ajdin, who will draw for turn and play a basic mountain. Then he'll pass to me, and somehow no one's played a 1-drop. I'm going to draw and play Vault of Champions as my land for turn. Then I'll tap for 2 and cast Arcane Signet and pass the turn to Guy. He's going to draw his card and play another snow-covered swamp, and then he's going to tap for 2 and cast his commander, Tinybones Trinket Thief. With nothing else, he'll pass to Ryan, who's going to gain 2 life, play a Temple of Silence tapped, scrying that card to the bottom, and with nothing else, we'll move to Ajdin's turn. He's going to play a basic mountain. He has no plays, so he's going to pass to me. I'm going to draw and play a basic swamp as my land for turn. Then I'm going to tap for 3, and I'm going to cast Fleshbag Marauder. Its ETB resolves. Guy and I both sack a creature. He rezones Tinybones, and then I'll play Lotus Petal. Then I'll tap for 2 black, sacking the petal, and I'll play Relentless Dead, and just pass the turn back to Guy. He'll untap, play a 3rd snow-covered swamp, and pass the turn to Ryan. I'm going to bump the camera really hard. Ryan's going to gain 2 life, and then play a snow-covered island as his land for turn. With nothing else, Ajdin will draw a card, play an Ancient Tomb, and then he's immediately going to tap for 4 mana, losing 2 to the Ancient Tomb, and he's going to cast Jeska's Will. He chooses the mode that gets him mana, and Guy has a hand of 7 cards, so he gets 7 red, and then he's going to play Purphoros, God of the Forge. No one has any responses to this, so he's going to use 3 more of that mana and cast Legion Warboss. This triggers Purphoros and hits us all for 2, Both Guy and I drop to 38. Ryan remembers his missed Oloro triggers and drops to 44, and then Ajdin's going to go to combat, triggering the war boss and making a goblin, draining us all for another 2. Then Ajdin will attack Guy with the goblin token, bringing him down to 35, and with nothing else, we pass back to my turn. I'll draw and play a Skycloud Expanse as my land for turn. Then I'm going to tap for 4 and cast my commander, Varina, Lich Queen. After that, I'll head into combat, and I'm going to turn my Relentless Dead sideways at Ajdin, which triggers my Varina, so I gain a life, I draw a card, and then I discard a card. He declares no blocks, so he's going to take 2 damage from the Relentless Dead, and I'll pass to Guy. Guy's going to play a 4th Snow-Covered Swamp, then he's going to tap for 4 mana to cast Siphon Mind. I have a response, I'll tap the Signet for blue, and I will Flusterstorm the Siphon Mind. It gets countered, and we move over to Ryan's turn.
This time we're going to remember the upkeep trigger.
Nice. Ryan will draw and play a basic Plains as his land for turn. Then he's going to tap for 4 mana, and he's going to cast Smothering Tithe. With nothing else, he'll pass the turn to Ajdin. He'll untap, draw, not paying for Smothering Tithe so Ryan gets a treasure, and I'll play Cavern of Souls naming Goblin. Then he's going to tap for 5 mana, losing 2 life to cast Siege Gang Commander, which enters the battlefield and triggers Purphoros, draining us all for 2. Then the Siege Gang trigger resolves, making 3 goblins, triggering Purphoros 3 times, and we each take 6 life. He's going to head into combat, triggering Legion War Boss, making another goblin, and that's going to trigger Purphoros, and we're all going to take 2 again. Then he's going to head into declare attacks. He's going to turn the Legion War Boss and 2 goblins sideways at Ryan, triggering Mentor off the War Boss to pump one of the goblins to a 2/2, and then Ryan takes 5.
That's me. I will untap. Draw for turn. That's brutal. Well, I'm going to need some...
Dude, you're going to pay for Smothering Tithe?
I'm not going to pay for Smothering Tithe.
Okay.
Got it. I'm going to go to combat, though.
I'm going to turn both of my creatures sideways at Ajdin and trigger Varina twice. I'll gain 2 life, draw 2 cards, and then discard 2 cards, not paying for Smothering Tithe, so Foley makes 2 treasures. Ajdin's going to block Varina with a goblin token, take 2, then I'll play an Unholy Grotto as my land for turn, and tap for 2 black in order to cast an Undead Augur. With nothing else, I'll pass the turn to Guy. Guy will untap and draw for turn, not paying for Smothering Tithe, so Foley gets to make a treasure. Then Guy's going to play Inventor's Fair as his land for turn, and then play a Chrome Mox, imprinting Ethereal Flow underneath it so it taps for black. Then, Guy's going to float all of his mana for a total of 6, 4 of it to recast Tinybones Trinket Thief, and the other one to cast Burglar Rat. This has us all discarding a card from our hands, so we're going to do that, and then Guy's going to move to his end step, triggering Tinybones, taking a life, drawing a card, and not paying for Smothering Tithe. Then, at the end of Guy's turn, Foley's going to use one of those treasures to cast Mystical Tutor, which lets him search his library for an instant or sorcery and put it on top.
Just a road. Vampire? What the fuck? Either you already have the board wipe, or you're just straight up not concerned with what's happening right now.
He'll get a Vampire Tutor and put it on top of his library. Then he's going to untap. He's going to gain 2 life off of Oloro and draw. Then, in his first main phase, he's going to sacrifice a bunch of treasures and tap some lands in order to generate 6 generic and 2 black and cast Torment of Hellfire. The total for X is going to be 6, but I have a response. I'm going to use Varina's ability twice, and I'm going to exile 4 cards from my graveyard in order to make 2 2/2 zombie creature tokens. With that, we're going to allow the Torment of Hellfire to resolve. Ajdin's going to take all of the damage, dropping to 14. I will sacrifice 4 zombies and take 6 of it, dropping down to 23. And then my Undead Augur will trigger 4 times, so I'll lose 4 more life and then draw 4 cards. And then Foley's Smothering Tithe saw that, and I couldn't pay the mana for any of them, so he makes 4 treasures. Then, Guy's going to decide to discard 2 cards, sacrifice 2 permanents, and then he's going to take 6 of it, and he's going to drop down to 18 life. After that, Foley's going to play a second Swamp as his land for turn. Then he's going to sacrifice all 4 treasures to cast an Aetherflux Reservoir. After that, he's going to tap for 1 black to cast Scheming Cemetery, choosing Guy and him to tutor to the top of their libraries. He's going to go get a Bolas's Citadel, and Guy's going to go get a Bloodchief Ascension. They'll both add that to the top of their libraries. Then we'll move to Ajdin's turn, where he'll untap and draw and not pay for the tithe. Then he'll play a Spawning Bed as his land for turn, and he's going to go into combat, triggering the Legion War Boss, which triggers Purphoros. That'll have me dropping to 17, Guy to 16, and Foley to 32. He'll then declare attacks, which triggers the Legion War Boss, so he's going to get to mentor one of the goblins. He's going to have both of the 2/2s going at Guy, all of the 1/1 goblin tokens going at me, and then the other 2 creatures will be going at Foley. I'm going to choose to not block. Guy's going to block a 2/2 with the Tinybones, and then we'll go to damage. I'm going to drop down to 14, Guy's going to drop down to 14, and then Foley's going to drop to 28. After that, we'll move to Ajdin's second main phase, where he's going to tap out, losing 2 to Ancient Tomb, to cast Hellion Eruption. This is going to have him sacrificing 7 creatures, and he's going to make 7 Hellion tokens. They are 4/4s. That's going to deal 14 damage to all of us, killing both Guy and myself. With nothing else, we'll move to Foley's turn, where he'll untap, gain 2 life off of Oloro, and then draw for turn. He'll then tap for 6 mana, 3 black, and 3 generic to cast Bolas's Citadel. The combo is online.
So we're Storm 1 right now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So top card is going to be Mirror Maid. I'm going to pay 3 life.
But you're going to gain 2.
And I'm going to have it come in as a copy of Aetherflux Reservoir.
That's sick.
Uh-huh.
Oh god.
We're going to play Scroll Rack. We're going to pay 2 and then gain 3.
You're it.
And then gain another 3.
Because of Aetherflux
Yeah.
Reservoir.
We're going to play a basic Swamp for turn. We're going to play Talisman of Hierarchy for
So
2.
you take 2, but then that's Storm 4, so you gain 8.
We're going to play Test of Endurance for 4.
So you lose 4, but you go up to Storm 5, so you gain 10. Go to 32.
We are going to play a Vampiric Tutor.
Okay, so
It's
you,
over.
you lose
It's
2.
over.
Hold on, don't do it yet. You got to resolve trigger. So you lose 2.
Over.
Oops. 1, 2. You lose 2. You go up to Storm 6, so you gain 12.
Yeah, that's why I was like, dude, you're going to die.
Yeah.
All right, what's going to win me the game?
Sensei's Divining Top will win you the game.
I don't have Sansa's Divining Top, unfortunately.
Bro! That's the card you need!
I know.
Give this man a Sensei's Divining Top.
All right, and the top card is going to be Beacon of Immortality.
That's the 6th.
1,
So
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to cast it.
But now you're going to trigger both Aetherflux Reservoirs, and you're going to gain 14 life
Going up.
to 60.
And then,
it gets
I
better.
double my life total to 100.
Let's do that manually, because it's fucking funnier.
Yeah.
Just pass the turn.
What could possibly be better than 1 Aetherflux Reservoir and 1 Bolas's Citadel? Probably 2 Aetherflux Reservoirs and 1 Bolas's Citadel. Let's talk about how the game went. I want to write off 2 people right off the bat, and that's going to be me and Guy. Here's why. Guy didn't do anything. He could never get off the ground. The Tinybone deck is sweet, and you're going to see more of it, but in this case, there wasn't much to show, so I don't want to talk about it too much. The Varina deck did a few things. I was able to counter the Siphon Mind from Guy, which I guess was part of why he didn't do anything. And I was able to start to use Varina's activated and triggered abilities to generate a little bit of advantage. Compared to what Ryan and Ryan Foley and Ajdin were doing, it wasn't very much. I got put out of the game at the same turn as Guy, which brings us to Foley and Ajdin. And that's pretty interesting because normally the player who wins the game is the most impactful. And in this case, I think the most impactful player was likely Ajdin, even though he didn't win the game. On turn 5, you guys saw that surgical play of attack Adrian and Guy down to exactly 14 apiece, and then use Hellion Eruption. By the way, he also factored in Guy's block, so it was pretty impressive. Then he played Hellion Eruption, bringing us both to 0. This is normally really good for a Purphoros deck, putting 2 of your opponents out of play. I didn't agree with him doing this because when he did that, he had to pass the turn to Foley. And Foley knowingly had a Vampiric Tutor, and he knowingly Scheming Symmetry the turn before, and then he knowingly had an Aetherflux Reservoir in play. So when he untapped and played the Bolas's Citadel, he was able to win the game, and that's why I think that maybe either he misplayed, or maybe he just wanted to knock 2 players out of the game and see if Foley could actually have it, see if he actually tutored for the right pieces, if he was going to make the right plays. Because if Foley did pass the turn back to Ajdin with, without much of a game plan, which was unlikely considering the amount of tutors we saw, but if that had happened, Ajdin would definitely have untapped and likely won the game. But that's not what happened. And because Ajdin put both Guy and I out of the game, I'd say he was the most impactful because I was a blue player and Guy was a discard player, so we probably could have fought Ryan a little bit on what he was doing had the turn made it back around to us, but it never did. Ryan won the game in true Oloro fashion. He got out his Aetherflux Reservoir, he found his Bolas's Citadel, he had the bonus of a second Aetherflux Reservoir, and he literally Vampiric tutored a Beacon of Immortality to the top of his library, so he could, if he wanted to, he could have shot Ajdin for, how much was it? The thing deals like 50 damage, and then played another spell, and in response shot him again. He could have done whatever he wanted. He could have passed the turn. He could have just kept playing the game and shot him at any time. It's brutal. Any of you who've been playing Commander for a while have probably seen the Bolas's Citadel and Aetherflux Reservoir combo. It's pretty sweet. It's good in the Oloro deck. That's kind of all there is to it. That's all I have for you guys today. For any of you guys who didn't catch it, maybe it didn't come up in feed because you don't watch a lot of opening videos, I did a poll asking, do you want to see me open this pre-release kit, which isn't in this room right now, I don't think. But we opened it, and if you want to see it, there it is right there. One of those little cards. It'll also be in the description below. We got some pretty good pulls. including some of the cards that we played in the $100 Kaldheim budget game, the first one, not the big, long 40-minute one. I'm rambling at this point. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, I will see you next time.